Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now, your #1 source for tips, tricks, and everything you need to know for Fantasy Premier League football. Today, we're going to be going over some transfer tips for Game Week 13. Who to buy, who to sell, who to hold. We've got them all in today's video. So if you're excited for it, drop a like down below. Leave a comment. Who are you thinking of bringing in this week? Who you're thinking of selling? Subscribe if you're brand new. We're so close to 800 subscribers. With all of that out of the way though, let's get into the video, and I really hope that you enjoy. So, starting things off, this week's transfer tips video is a little bit different. I usually have 5 players on the screen with their stats, their next fixtures, all of that good stuff, and whether you should buy them or sell them. But this week, I thought I would do it like this, where I have a bunch of players on the screen, and then I can go through them all individually. It just lets me put more players on the screen that you could potentially buy or to sell or to hold. The only problem with this method is that their stats aren't on the screen, but let me know which method you like more. This is just a kind of a trial video, so if you guys like this method more, let me know. If you like the previous method more, I'll just go back to that, but I thought this way could be a little bit better because I can get so many more players on the screen. Let me just say that this is not a draft. Don't bring this whole team in. This isn't a wild card draft. This is nothing like that. The last time I did this with differential players, a lot of people thought it was a wild card draft. It isn't. It's just loads of individual players that you could buy, sell, or hold. Okay, right, let's go into it. So, in goal, there is quite a big question going on. Who do you bring in? Ramsdale or Sanchez? Like, if you've got a keeper that you're not a massive fan of, Ramsdale and Sanchez are kind of the big options, but there's also Gaeta as well. So personally for me, I like Ramsdale a lot more. If you are on a wild card or anything and you're wanting to bring in a new keeper, Ramsdale has some really nice fixtures coming up. He's got Newcastle at home. I could see him keeping a clean sheet there. Man United away is, I mean, it's an interesting one. Like, obviously Man United won 2-0 against Villarreal last night, but they haven't played in the Prem yet under Carrick, so it'll be interesting to see how they play there. So could Arsenal keep a clean sheet in that game? Potentially. They could also get beat 3-0. Who knows? Then Everton, I could see them keeping a clean sheet there. Southampton, clean sheet. West Ham, probably not. But then Leeds and Norwich and Wolves, I could see them keeping clean sheets. So I think Ramsdale is a really good option, especially for the next like 6 or 7 game weeks, because they've just got nice fixtures. Apart from that West Ham game and maybe the Man United game, I think Ramsdale is a really good option. We've also got Sanchez in goal as well, who you could potentially bring in if you didn't already. Of course, he is back from a suspension now. He only got 1 game suspension, which is nice for all the Sanchez owners. His fixture is a little bit more difficult. He has Leeds. I mean, could they keep a clean sheet against Leeds? It depends if Rafinha's back, potentially. West Ham away, probably not going to keep a clean sheet there, but we also saw how bad West Ham were against Wolves. Southampton, potential clean sheet. Tottenham, probably not. Wolves, probably not. Then they've got United, again, same deal with Arsenal. Then they've got Brentford, then Chelsea. I just don't think their fixtures are that good at the moment. So if I was going to bring in any of these two, I would probably bring in Ramsdale, but at the same time, you have Gaeta as well. I don't know how to spell his name. He's the Crystal Palace keeper. Let me just go to Crystal Palace real quick because I don't have a clue how to spell his name. There it is. Okay, so you add this bad boy in. He's got some really nice fixtures coming up, being Villa could keep a clean sheet there. I mean, Steven Gerrard is a really good manager in my opinion, so they obviously played really well at the weekend against Brighton, but we'll have to see what happens in that game. Leeds, I could see them keeping a clean sheet. United, again, tough fixture, but then they've got Everton, Southampton, Watford, Tottenham and Norwich, so that is a really nice run of games, so it's really up to you. Of course, Ramsdale is the most expensive, and then Gaeta and Sanchez are both 4.6 as of right now. So with the keeper dilemma, I personally think Ramsdale's the best player to bring in if you were going to change your keeper this week. Coming up at the back, Rudiger is a player that I think a lot of people are overlooking. People are more likely to bring in James and Chilwell because they are the fullbacks and they are getting forward a lot more. They're getting a lot more assists, a lot more goals, and I completely agree. It's just if you don't have the money to go to Chilwell or James, who are both 6 and 6.1, Rudiger is also another option. He did just score at the weekend, and he also has had more shots than James and Chilwell. They are all headers off corners, but having that presence in the box pays off because he did score a header from a corner at the last weekend game. So yeah, I think that he is a decent little option. He's actually 5.9 now, I should say. He has actually risen in price, I do believe. But I think he's still a really, really nice option, but again, I wouldn't pick him over James and Chilwell. James and Chilwell are definitely the go-to Chelsea players at the moment. And then we have Trent as well. A lot of people are bringing in Trent this week. He's one of the most brought-in players. He's got a really, really nice run of fixtures. Southampton, Everton, Wolves, Villa, Newcastle, Tottenham, Leeds, Leicester, Chelsea, Brentford. That is a nice run of fixtures. Maybe not the Chelsea game, but I mean, from game week 13 to 20, such a nice run of fixtures. He is 7.8 mil now, so he's quite expensive. If you didn't bring him in at the start of the season on that 7.5, or when he went up to 7.6, he is going to cost you a bit more now, because I can't see his price dropping at all. He's just going to get more returns throughout these games. Like, he might not keep clean sheets, but he's probably going to score. He's probably going to get some assists. So if you aren't bringing him in now, it's a little bit like Cancelo. Like, he might be a little bit too expensive to bring in now, but if you do have a lot of extra money in the bank, I would maybe think about bringing in Trent, because he is a solid pick at the back. So there are some players that I would bring in. Chilwell is a player that I would hold at the moment, because he did suffer a pretty bad injury in last night's Champions League win. 4-0 against Juve, by the way. What a result for Chelsea. But yeah, he does have a knee injury. Apparently, Tuchel said that he felt like a problem in his knee or something. He did need to get helped off the pitch, but Tuchel has then come out and said that he feels a lot better. So again, they'll just have to be assessed. So don't get rid of him now. A lot of people see that yellow flag and just get rid of him instantly. I understand the kind of wanting to upgrade from Chilwell to Reece James, because it's only 0.1, which completely understand. But if he is okay, you wouldn't have made that transfer before this injury. So wait for Tuchel's press conference. Again, Alonso didn't even come off the bench for him last night. Aspi came on the bench, off the bench. So does that mean Alonso won't even play in that left wing back role? Will it be Aspi, or will it be someone else? Who knows? But yeah, wait for the press conference, see how he actually is. If he's not okay, then yeah, get rid of him. But as of right now, do not sell him, because I mean, there's not really any point. Like, you would have kept him if it wasn't for that injury. So I would say that Chilwell is a hold. Reece James is definitely a player I mean, he's just ridiculous. I mean, did you see his goal last night? Jesus Christ. Like, this guy is just on the top of his form. He is one of the best players in the world right now, I would say. He's the best right back in the world, I would say, easy. Like, Trent, yeah, also incredible, but James is he's just so good at getting forward. He's so good at scoring. He's so good at getting assists. He's just Trent, but I think he's a better defender than Trent as well, in my personal opinion. But yeah, I mean, if you don't have this guy in at the moment, like, I think he's just going to punish you every single week. I can't see him missing a game, apart from maybe over the Christmas period where Aspi will probably play a game. But apart from that, like, he's nailed. Like, he's literally one of the best players in the Prem right now. Like, you're not going to bench him. And then Cancelo is another player that, again, you kind of need to bring in. Like, maybe not this week for the West Ham game, because I'm hoping that City don't keep a clean sheet. But then after that, you've got Villa, Watford, Wolves, Leeds, Newcastle, Leicester, Brentford. And I know this is over the Christmas period, but Cancelo is a player that he's capable of playing left back, right back. He's able to push forward so much. Like, he is just a really, really good player that Pep has at the moment. And I don't really think Pep would want to bench him, because benching Cancelo takes a lot out of that team. Because Zinchenko can't do what Cancelo does. Kyle Walker can't do what Cancelo does. So taking Cancelo out of the team and putting him on the bench, I think, is basically shooting himself in his foot. So I would definitely buy Cancelo, James, Trent, Rudiger, hold Chilwell at the back. Coming in at midfield, we have Mbeumo. Probably the unluckiest player right now. A lot of people are getting rid of him. I would hold him still, because he has Everton, Tottenham, Leeds, Watford, United, Southampton. Like, he is the most unluckiest player, because he just constantly hits the woodwork. I think it's something like 7 times this season. That would have been 7 returns here if they all went in, which would have been very, very nice. 35 points, probably a few bonus points there as well. I think that he will come good. You know, only 4% of teams own him. I own him. It's really annoying to bring him in. It was either him, Smith Rowe, or Gallagher. And of course, I went for the one player that has not returned, while Smith Rowe and Gallagher both did. But Mbeumo, I think, is a hold. If you have him, I don't think you should really be getting rid of him right now. If you don't have him, I wouldn't bring him in, because Smith Rowe and Gallagher around that price range are much better options. But if you do have him, I wouldn't waste a free transfer getting rid of him, especially because he has some nice fixtures coming up. Smith Rowe is up next. Again, a really, really nice cheap player. Newcastle at home this week. If you are looking to, you know, if you've got Rafinha and you don't really want to, I don't know, tempt fate, because he obviously is ill. He did miss the Tottenham game, so if he's not okay, we'll wait for the press conference. But if Bielsa's like he might be okay, and you don't want to risk it, you can easily downgrade to Smith Rowe. Newcastle at home, and then he's got United, but then he's got Everton, Southampton, West Ham, but then he has Leeds and Norwich and Wolves. He's got some really nice fixtures coming up. He's so cheap, 5.9 mil. He keeps scoring. He's in good form. Just got his England call up. Yeah, he's kind of smashing the Prem this season, and that is the same for Gallagher as well. Again, who has Villa, then Leeds, United, Everton, Southampton, Watford, Tottenham, Norwich. Really, really nice fixtures coming up. Again, if you have Rafinha, you can easily downgrade to him. He's 6 mil. Honestly, cheap options are kind of saving FPL this week, because you need cheap midfielders, and then you're spending all your money at the back. Because the midfielders are just playing so well this season. They're all starting. Like, past seasons, they would have maybe played like once every 3 games, but now they're all playing every single game. It makes life a lot easier, because they're all returning as well. So yeah, if you do have the funds and you do want to make a transfer, Smith Rowe and Gallagher are definitely 2 players I would 100% bring in this week. Jota's on the crisp of like hold and buy. Like, if you own him, definitely hold for the press conference, because he does have a knee injury. He did come off. But they've got Southampton, Everton, Wolves, Villa, Newcastle, Tottenham, and Leeds. Firmino's out. Like, if Jota is fit, he's going to play. And if you don't have the money to go up to like a Foden or someone, I think Jota is a really, really good option. Especially with the fact that both Mane and Salah are going to be going after the Africa Cup of Nations. They don't have that many options up front. Like, even if Firmino's back, Jota is still going to play whilst they are at the Africa Cup of Nations. So if he's okay, I think it's very beneficial to bring Jota in. 100% beneficial to bring Jota in. Again, we'll have to wait to see if he's okay. Wait for that press conference. But he's guaranteed a spot. Like, Firmino might be out for a little bit longer, but I could see Firmino coming back when Salah and Mane go, which means that it'll probably be like Firmino, Jota, and Origi up front, which is kind of crazy, but that could be the situation that we find ourselves in. So yeah, Jota definitely a hold, potentially on a buy. We'll have to wait for the press conference. Son is up next. Again, really unlucky. I think he hit the woodwork against Leeds, but didn't return. A lot of people did bring him in. He did get a price rise to 10.4. Now has Burnley, Brentford, Norwich, and Brighton coming up next. Son's an interesting one. The Conte effect is still kind of working its magic, still kind of taking effect. But he does have some really nice fixtures coming up. Burnley, he should score in that game. I mean, Brentford, he should score in that game. And Norwich, he should score in that game. But the fact that Spurs just scored 2 goals and Son and Kane weren't involved in any of them is a little bit worrying. But we'll have to see what happens in the Burnley game. If Son blanks again against Burnley, I could see a lot of people jumping off the Tottenham train and maybe bringing in their defenders, because if Reguilon is going to keep getting as forward as he is, then yeah, he's going to be a really nice option, and he's only like 5.1 mil. He is another player that I would also potentially buy this week if I couldn't afford the likes of James or Chilwell. I just think that Reguilon has something about him now. He's under Conte, is being given the freedom to go forward and actually take shots and get assists and everything like that. But yeah, Son also a decent option. He's a little bit on the pricier side though. If you don't have the money, I would definitely opt to bring in Gallagher or Jota instead of Son. Coming up front, a hold is definitely Vardy and Antonio. So a hold for Vardy. He is the 5th most transferred out player this week, which is just bonkers to me, because he has Watford at home, and then Southampton, and then Villa, and then Newcastle. Like, surely you'd want to hold him for the next 4. Because they're just really nice fixtures. Like, Watford at home. Watford haven't kept a clean sheet all season. Like, yeah, they did just beat United 4-1. But I don't know. I just don't understand why you would sell him against Watford, who just not kept a clean sheet all season. So he's definitely a hold in my books. I mean, I'm definitely keeping him. I don't know why people are selling him. But, you know, hopefully he scores a brace this week and then, you know, sorts all those people out that decided to get rid of him. So yeah, definitely a hold for Vardy. I just don't understand. Like, you get rid of him around maybe this get like City, then Liverpool, but then he has Norwich and Burnley as well. So it's an interesting one. But yeah, I mean, definitely keep him for the next 4, 100%. I just don't understand the thought process in getting rid of him there. Antonio's a bit of a hold as well in my books. Like, Man City away isn't great. You could bench him this week, and then he has Brighton, but then he has Chelsea. Again, you could bench him against Chelsea, but then he has Burnley, Arsenal, Norwich, Southampton, Watford, Crystal Palace, Leeds. Like, yeah, you could bring him after the Chelsea game. I decided to hold him because he had like Liverpool, then Wolves, then City. I thought he was going to do something. He didn't do anything against Liverpool, did nothing against Wolves, isn't really probably going to do anything against City. So yeah, not really too looking forward to that. But yeah, I think I made the wrong decision. I was either going to go down to Tony and then bring Antonio back in for these really good fixtures, which is what I should have done. Tony did score at the weekend, but I didn't do it. I decided to keep Antonio, and so far he hasn't rewarded me. But I think if you're in this position where you still have him now, I don't really think there's a point of getting rid of him, because if you get rid of him for this week, Then he's got Brighton next week, which he could easily score. Then Chelsea's, yeah, a tough fixture, but then you have him for all of these fixtures. You don't have to waste a free transfer on him. Because the thing is, if you get rid of him now and then you're going to bring him back in game week 16, that's 2 transfers on the same player, which isn't great. Plus, he's going to be a little bit more expensive. I just don't think there's any point. And then Jimenez is a player that a lot of people are bringing in. I wouldn't bring him in on a free transfer. If you're on a wild card, it's a different story. But on a free transfer, I wouldn't bring him in because he's only good for the next 2 fixtures. Like Norwich and Burnley away are incredible fixtures. But if he doesn't score against Norwich, you kind of shot yourself in the foot because then you're kind of hoping that he does something against Burnley. If he doesn't, then you have to get rid of him because then he has Liverpool, City, Brighton, Chelsea, which is a terrible run of fixtures. So you'd really probably want to get rid of him at that point. So personally, if you have him already, obviously hold him and then sell him when he has the Liverpool, City, Chelsea games. But I don't think I'd waste a free transfer. If he was on a wild card, maybe that's a little bit different because then you could downgrade him to Tony during those games. And especially when you use a wild card, you're not really expected to use a free transfer for like a couple of weeks. So yeah, Jimenez, I think if you own him, definitely hold. If you don't have him, probably wouldn't bring him in. But that is going to be everything for today's video. Let me know what you guys thought about this new transfer tips kind of style video. Let me know if you like this one more than the other one, or I'll just go back to the old one. Thank you for watching though. If you did enjoy, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, peace.